So we arrived in the Queyras in Briançon about an hour and a half ago, and we're on the way to Col Pégou. It's quite late in the evening, it's about 7 o'clock, and it's a very, very precipitous drop here because we're just on the approach, and it's hugging and contouring around this mountainside with very different rock to the écrin, and with the heat in the rock it feels like I'm in Crete. Anyway, more later. Well, it's 9:20 at night. The sun's just, well, the sun went down a long time ago over in that direction, and here's where I'm putting my tent for the night, in this little field. We've another sort of, I think, 7 kilometers until Les Fonds. That's where the start of the GR 58. That's what we're going to do tomorrow morning. Well, it's 10:20 on our second day in the Queyras, and we just walked 1.5 hours from our camping place last night to Les Fonds, which is down here. We had a coffee, we had some breakfast, and now we're going up for the first call of the day, 2,900 meters, in very different rock and colours. Well, I'd like to take some time out to share a couple of things with you, something about life on the trail here. I've been walking by myself now in the mountains since 7th of July. I've been in Italy and France for about 2.5 weeks. In that time I've slept on 2 airport floors and my tent, and I've been climbing mountains every day, and you need to be something of a masochist to like climbing mountains. It's tough, hard physical work, and you're sleeping at nights on a piece of foam that thick, and I love it. I love it 99% of the time. I love it, but when you're by yourself, the highs are very high, but equally the lows are very low. And yesterday I had a low day. I switched to the Queyras. I didn't really know what to do. I couldn't make a plan. I was very indecisive, and I felt, what am I doing here? Other people use their summer holidays to lie on a beach or to go chasing girls or something like this, and I don't know, I just felt it was pointless. 1% of the time that happens sometimes. Today I made a mistake with navigation, which pulled me down a little bit. I can show you on the map. Here is Les Fonds, and there's 2 forks of the GR 58. I should have taken this one, the one next to the frontier with Italy, but I took the wrong one. It's just my fault, and I ended up far away from where I wanted to go, and that on top of days when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, when I was travelling, when I was in between, where I didn't have any rhythm, and it just got me down. But yeah, I don't know, there's no one, when you're by yourself, there's no one to pick you up, and you have to do it yourself, and sometimes it's hard work. But I made another plan, and I'm trying to spin it and make it into a good thing. I'm getting to see more of this country, and I'm much more positive now than I was about half an hour ago. Anyway, just a little slice of life on the trail. We're at Col de la Crèche, and we're just going to retrace our steps a little bit and try and get to Col Maurif, which was the call we wanted in the first place. Okay, so that's it. Well, it's now 6 o'clock in the evening, and at last we have reached Lac Maurif. 7 hours later than should have been. Now we have to go up here to the col and across to the other side, and there's someone camping there, which would be a wonderful place to camp. Anyway, we have a little bit more to do. Well, here's Lac Malreef again, and here's my tent. We set up next to Lake Malreef in the end because we tried to get up onto the col and then via a ridge which was so windy and very cold, and I looked at the map and my GPS, and the onward route was exposed, 6 kilometers, no shelter. Could have been this, the same wind which near enough knocked me off my feet, and at the end of that there was no guarantee that there would be a campsite. I'd probably reach there in 2 hours, and it was already 6:30, so I made the decision to stay here, which is really frustrating because it should have been my first port of call today. And I was just thinking about the personality of someone who does this. It's probably someone, you don't climb mountains unless you're pretty obsessed and maybe a bit of a control freak. I know that I'm not obsessed and controlled about a lot of things in life, but when it comes to distance and getting where I want to go when I'm in the mountains, it's a bit of a control thing. And then if you make a mistake, you end up beating yourself up. But that's travelling alone for you. It's an experience where you have highs and lows, and the highs are euphoric and the lows you use to learn about yourself. So I'm going to read the paper, enjoy the views here, and tomorrow is another day, as they say. Well, here is the next day, and we're trying to do the route that we stopped last night because we thought it was too difficult, too exposed, and not enough time. And we just came over this col here, and then contoured round underneath this ridge, and then up this slope, and then we go for another col over here. This is Col de Rassis. And then there's another one after this. I started about an hour and a half ago, so yeah, there's not enough time, and it's terribly exposed and very grim. So let's see what's on the other side. How about this at the bottom of Col de Rassis, your very own Infinity Lake. So here we are standing at the Col de Queyras. This was the last col from last night. Of Italy and France. There's Italy. There's a nice little valley there. I thought about walking up that when I was making my plans. And there's France. And now we go down, and I guess up in this direction. Well, here we are approaching the Col de Urine. Gets back into Italy, and it's like being back in the Pyrenees again. Clouds come down, white out. So let's see if we can find the way by GPS. Okay, it must be about 1,800 meters here, and only now do we pop down below the cloud base to reveal Refugio Jervis, and I think I'll have a little break here. Well, it's early morning of another day. We spent yesterday, from the time we hit Refugio Jervis until the time we got to Refugio Granero. It was white out, couldn't see anything at all. And then we camped at Refugio Granero last night in a thoroughly damp night. It was not nice at all. And today we're going up to Refugio Viso. Let's see how far we get today. Well, behind me is Refuge Viso. We had a strange couple of hours. We got to the refuge. We had a lovely conversation with the owner and stayed for a while, and then it got stormy. We stayed for longer, and now there's a gap in the weather, and we're going to go over the next call, which is here, and with Viso in the background, and let's see if we make it before the weather hits again. It's a strange kind of day. Well, we just reached Col de Volante. There's some really bad weather coming in again from the French side, but over on the Italian side it's quite nice. Even some blue sky over there, and Mon Viso, you can almost see the top. Okay, now we go off down this way, I think to Chianale. If you look very closely here, you can see the wind, the Italian side, blowing the clouds back. Well, we're just leaving Refugio Volante, where we had to stop over for a while because of more rain. They assure me that tomorrow is going to be very nice, but that's really not much use to me today. But I've just kind of abandoned all plans and kind of resigned to the elements and adopted a more fatalistic attitude. C'est la vie. The Greeks would say, "Tina canome," what can we do? So yeah, we're now descending down here where there's a campsite. We might stay there, we might continue, I don't know. But there is Refugio Volante, there is Mon Viso, and that's where we came from. So it's about 5:15, and here we are leaving Monte Chianale, which is our southernmost point on the route. It also has this rather fetching lake, and we came here because it was low and we wouldn't get wet or cold, and also to resupply. It has a shop, but the downside was it has some of the most obnoxious and irritating teenagers I have ever, it has been my misfortune ever to come across. Anyway, so now we're going to head north again, as far north as possible, to make our trip back to Torino, a pleasant one and a short one, and we're going to head around the other side of Mon Viso, so we should get more views of that beautiful mountain. So here we are at Bivouac Bertoglio, and it's quite windy, so I'll turn the camera around, maybe you can hear me better. This is a little yellow and red shack, which is perched about 2,500 meters for people to overnight, and that's what I'm doing here. There's a Frenchman there by the name of Eric, who I'm sharing this little shack with, and there's room for I think 6 people on bunks with mattresses. It's actually quite comfortable. So beautiful light here, and tomorrow we go off in this direction with the lakes. Apparently you can see Mont Blanc when you turn the corner through the col. Just the last slivers of light on the peak over there. A little lake actually down here too, and there's the sun going down over here. It's an absolutely idyllic place to spend the night. So it's the next morning, and it's a beautiful day, and we've just Coming into sight of Mon Viso again, very very close to us, of course this time on the east side. And if you just look a little bit to the north, well 150 kilometers to the north, you can see, maybe you can see Monte Rosa, which should be just about there, and a little bit to the left is the Matterhorn, which is amazing. So let's see if we can make the most of this beautiful day. Well, it's about 10:10 in the morning. We've been underway for about 3 hours or something like that. Time for breakfast, and what better place to have breakfast than this little pass where you can have wonderful views of Mon Viso, and looks like a moraine there. There's Mon Viso. That's the border with France over there, and down here is Lago Chiaretto, or Chiaretti I believe, which is a milky colour, rather beautiful. Well, we just come over Col Traversete, 2,950 metres, back into France, kind of by accident. I thought I was still in Italy, but we're now in France, which actually is quite good, because the plan is to go as north as possible, and I think Oulx would be a good place to catch the train to Torino, which is just a valley walk and one call away, I would say. Anyway, there is Col Traversete, and down there that is Refuge Viso, where I was yesterday. So it just takes about 24 hours to go around Mon Viso. So another ibex up here on a rock, very very close to me, and these people just minding its own business. Very majestic. So, descending now from Refuge Viso, where we had a beer. We wanted to speak to the keeper of the refuge, who's a very nice woman, but we spoke to her husband, who's a very nice man, and I was just astonished by how beautiful this path is, this country is, so I thought I'd share it with you. Looking back at Mon Viso, it's just stunning. Okay, so I've worked out we've got about 35 kilometres until our place where we'd like to stay in a hotel tomorrow night, and 20 kilometres to the Italian border. So I reckon my target is 15 kilometres of those today. Let's see how far we get. GR58, Col de Queyras to the left. Well, it's the morning after. This is now our last day's walking. We arrived very very late at our camping place last night. You can see it behind me, but I'll show you in its full glory now. It is actually a little chapel. Put my tent down here instead of right in front, because I didn't want to offend any French people. Here it is, and it's just off the GR58. Up there is the Col de Queyras. We're actually there about 3 days ago. That's the border with Italy. We walk up there and down the valley, and then we're at Cesana Torinese. We're about 15 kilometres from that little town, where we will well, check into a hotel and begin to feel human again, because I feel really really dirty.